Hello, my name is Daryl Sauser. I am a spoken word performer with a physical disability. My disability being that I was in a very serious car accident many years ago, dislocated my hip. I have since had 2 hip replacements. Therefore, being throughout my life, I have had this disability. As I've gotten older, it has affected my life more. When I was in my 20s, 30s, even 40s, it didn't really seem to bother me that much, but as I get older, it has. Therefore, I've had to adapt and change my life immensely. From working mostly early life, working in a mill in northern Manitoba, to moving to Regina, taking courses, being an estimator for construction, and in later life, taking a tutoring class at the RPL in Regina and teaching English as a second language to new Canadians, which has become a very rewarding and fulfilling job, career, and really helped me gain knowledge in myself, made me realize that even though I've had some physical and probably mental difficulty at some points in my life, everyone does, these people change their lives immensely, coming around the world to make Canada their new home. Since I've had the ability to speak relatively well in front of the public on many different subjects, I have since decided to, become a bit of a public speaker. I can't call myself a motivational speaker, but tell little stories. I call I guess it's performing name, Life is Like a Dream. I do have the ability to remember my dreams. Not all of them, but some of them. I talk about that in my performing. I talk about life, what growing up in a small town taught me. Living in a small town, knowing all my neighbors and friends, and in the 60s and 70s, how much different it is now than then. Growing up in a small town is far different than growing up in a city. Being an only child is totally different, and living on a farm is totally different. I love and respect the memory of my parents immensely. They taught me many, many things, which I'm proud to still say. I speak to my parents every morning, just ask them how things are with them, and tell them that I'm doing relatively fine. My goal, I suppose, is I'm going to try and get across that everyone has dreams. Don't forget about your dreams. Try and reach your goals and your dreams, no matter what they are. Don't let people step on you and crush you and knock you down. Try and work through these things. If I would have listened to people say, you can't do that, can't shouldn't be a word. It's overcome the obstacle. Try and build on what you've learned. Many people will influence you throughout your life. Some for the good, some for the bad. That's what I try and get across in many, many of my stories. I talk about life, what I've learned, what I've read, and what I've tried to accomplish. I also have fictional stories that I've just made up in my head or dreamt, as I said, my dreams. So that's what I talk about in many of my dreams, or many of my stories, I'm sorry. I am in the process. I sort of haven't really done very much since COVID has been here since March. I haven't really done much work on it. Now I'm starting to put things together, perhaps turn it into a bit of a sideline career, and maybe a full-time career, having speaking engagements. This time, speaking engagements means all virtual and Zoom, which before COVID, I didn't know a thing about. Now I do. I can actually speak and teach classes virtually and on Zoom and Skype classes, which I didn't have any inkling or any idea what that was about a year ago. I don't want to really dwell on the COVID situation. It has changed everyone's lives. I will be the first to admit, in March, I was a little skeptical, thinking it wasn't really anything to worry about. It was just a flu, and we could work through it. I think we've all realized it isn't just a flu, although I have met some people who still think it's a conspiracy theory, and there's not really anything to worry about. I don't really want to get into that. It has changed everyone's lives immensely, forced people not to be able to work, forced people to work from their homes, which I do now, and I don't mind it. And I know a lot of people that do like working from home. Everyone's different. Everyone's their own individual. So I guess what I'm saying is live with it. We all have to live with what COVID is and what it will be. My dream, again, is with this vaccine that in a year or so, people will be able to get out and there'll be more physical contact, maybe as in going to a football game, going for a walk in the park, concerts, going to hockey games, going to libraries, museums, etc., and having more than 10 people at them. I do believe that's a little ways away, but we all do have to work through it. That's just a little bit about me. I grew up in Churchbridge, Saskatchewan. As I said, an only child. My parents were farmers, Hubert and Nita Sauser, and I will always cherish their memory. Churchbridge is my hometown. I rarely go back there, but I remember it fondly and still do call it home. I still have family and friends there. As I said, I hardly ever go back due to the fact I've chosen not to have a vehicle. Now there's no bus service. It makes it a little more difficult. I will try and get back there once in a while. It has been quite some time since I have been back there. And I have no immediate family with both my parents being gone. There's no sense of urgency to get there. That's a little bit about me. I worked in northern Manitoba for many, many years and have now lived in Regina since 2002, and I will probably call Regina home for the rest of my life. And this is probably the place where I will die, the home. Home, I hope, don't really mean sitting at this table right now, but I can't really see myself leaving Regina. I like it. It's a small city with everything we want. I can't speak for everyone, but everything I need and want. Some people want bigger and faster. When I was younger, I was probably one of those people. Now, this is the pace for me is almost exactly what I want. That's just a little bit of an introduction. I'm going to try and tell 2 or 3 stories here today. One or two possibly about dreams, about friendship, about family, and what I'm hoping to do. What I am hoping to do is do more of this via YouTube and my Facebook page, working more on my Facebook page, and building a web page, and going out to organizations and speaking about various topics, many different topics: life, dreaming, work, reality, the disability, fun, fear, everything. Aging, young, old, speak to everyone. The demographic has widened. When I was 20, I thought 60 was an old person. Now that I've reached my 60s, I realize 60s isn't old. I've had people tell me 60 is 40. Well, I don't know if that's totally true, but I've made it past 60, which is possibly a bit remarkable for some of the things I've done. Not real crazy, but I have done some things that perhaps weren't safe, and may continue to do things. As we get older, we lessen the craziness, I think, maybe either due to brain power, physical power, or just thinking, hey, we shouldn't do that anymore. At one time, I considered skydiving. I know I will never even consider skydiving now. Walking up a hill at times creates a bit of difficulty for me. Other than my hip, I've had some heart difficulties. So we have to cope and learn to cope with these things. Everyone does. I'm not speaking for anyone else. I'm just speaking for myself. Using a sports or baseball terminology, you have to learn to hit the curve ball that's thrown to you, because it just won't always be a fastball coming at you. You have to adapt to many different things. Mine has been physical with injuries and illness. The illness, as I said, being a heart problem. But again, I've always been fortunate enough to have a roof over my head, food, sometimes too much food, and always friends. I will speak many times on different stories, different situations about my friends. That's sort of an introduction. I will get on to 2 or 3 stories here today, I believe, and just talk about things.